open that page, I'll search for my fix, find what I need in the deep dark abyss.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the AI Skeptics podcast. I'm Kathy O'Neill, and today we are very, very excited to be joined by an actual young person. Tom, I'm going to let you introduce your young person today.
Hi, yes, I'm Tom Adams. I'm happy to be back here, and I'm very happy to introduce a young person named Carly Adams, who happens to be my daughter and a recent college graduate with a technical focus in college. Hi, Carly.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Carly, you've done podcasting before, or you were working with a radio station? Tell us what
a little bit. Yeah. I did a show for my college newspaper, where we just did some talking about the news. We didn't make episodes nearly as often as we would have liked, but, and then I've also done some fun, recording conversations with friends, with the intention of editing and uploading them at some point.
Awesome. I just realized I'm using the wrong speaker, but that is the way it is. I can't change that midway through. So Carly, we are going to, as an exciting episode topic, talking, since we talk about AI every time, we're skeptics. We often, I'll speak for myself. I often invoke young people as a constituent here that we should be keeping in mind. That AI is particularly problematic for the young folk, destroying all sorts of job opportunities and lifestyles. But I'm not exactly guessing, because I have kids around your age, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to hear it from your perspective. But before we go straight into that, I was wondering if you could tell us.
Sounds like we'll be getting Graham's perspective on the issue as well.
Grammy is in the background. Hi, Grammy.
He's yelling at me.
That's okay. So Carly, you were you grew up in the age of social media, and so did my sons actually, but none of them ever used social media. They somehow seemed insulated from it. I'm wondering if that's true of you, or do you have a different perspective, or do you have friends that got involved? Tell us your early experiences with technology, and social media.
I've definitely used social media. I've started using social media probably when I was around 13. Around that age. I think I was more in the middle ground. I knew a lot of people who were more involved with that sort of thing than I was. I wasn't particularly interested in building a social media presence or anything like that. I just saw it as more of a fun way to, stay in contact with friends and use more of the social aspects of it. I think it's I don't know, it's definitely something that has shaped a lot of my generation, because it's basically impossible not to. Pretty much everybody I know is on social media in one form or another. And if they aren't, they're often hounded for it and being asked why. And it's it's not there's necessarily a lot of pressure to be super active on social media or anything. It's just a very an omnipresent force that's just kind of it's just always there, and it's always in the background.
When I was 13, I learned how to use the telephone. Maybe I was 12. It was really exciting to be able to call my friends. And I remember my mother or father would pick up the phone to use it, and they'd hear me on the phone because we had shared lines. Mm-hmm. And they'd be like, get off the damn phone. I want to use the phone, you know? And I'd be like, oh, like how long have I been on the phone? You know? And the answer was hours, with my friend Jennifer Pilata. But like there was, you know, I feel like it's different. I mean, you wouldn't know what it was like to be me. I don't know what it's like to be you, but like from my, I'll just say a little bit what it was like to be me. Like I would have to call somebody when they're home. They would have to have time to talk to me. We would actually talk and then we would hang up. We would not be looking at each other at all because it's the phone. So it was more like, stream of consciousness. I have a crush on this boy. What about you? Like, oh, did you hear what happened with those kids or whatever? So gossipy, you know, like, later on when I was older, maybe I would flirt with boys on the phone a little bit, but for the most part, it was non-visual. And I know you're a very visual person. So I was wondering, what do you like, how would you describe the effects of social media and how it, like, how it interacted with your friendships?
Yeah. So I mean, I think like what I was noticing when you were saying that is that like the interesting difference between social media and something like that is that how quickly social media goes beyond your immediate circle of people you know in real life. Like at a certain point, it was like, oh, I'm going to get social media to, you know, chat with my friends, but it very, very quickly is just opening you up to like literally the entire world. So I'm thinking like as a visual form, I mean, obviously there's, you know, there's always talks about how some social media is terrible for like a young woman's body image issues and that sort of thing, which is definitely true. I don't necessarily think it's that much worse than like regular media. Like, you know, like magazines or TV or movies or anything like that. I don't think it is all that different in that regard. But it's got like, yeah, I don't know. It's very, the visualness of social media is very distracting. It's hard to look away.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's true that we all, of course, we had images. I did billboards, movies, TV of like, oh, this is the ideal body. But I didn't watch movies on a daily basis.
Right.
I guess I watched TV pretty regularly, but I was watching like, you know, The Love Boat. I mean, I guess there were things like, I mean, I'm not saying I wasn't affected by media.
Yeah.
I guess one thing, when I was interviewing young women, younger than you, like high school seniors, I interviewed quite a few high school senior women, girls when I was writing this Shame Machine book. One of the things that struck me is at a visual level was just how many pictures they had of themselves. A lot of these girls, by the way, had eating disorders, but they would show me pictures of them. They had a phone, of course. And maybe it's more about the phone than about social media, but like the omnipresence of the phone and all the selfies they had. And they would like flip through all the pictures of themselves. And they would be like, oh, this is like, I loved this, you know, this is when I looked good. And by the way, they would show me a picture of them looking exactly like they looked at that moment, right? To me. But to them, they were showing me a picture of like when they were thin. And these were girls who were all thin from my perspective. But it's just struck me at that moment, just like how visually fixated that generation of kids were. And, like when I was growing up, I barely looked in the mirror, and we had like a baby book with pictures of me, like 4 pictures of me, because my mom was really busy. I had almost no record of how I looked at that age, at any age.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's very, very different. I mean, even like, I feel like I have, I don't know, thousands of pictures, of, you know, myself, my friends, that sort of thing. And it's not like to go back and stare at these pictures, but it's still there and it's still like present, I guess.
We talk sometimes in our home about how these guys were, Carly and her sister were born in the film age, and then it transitioned from film to some sort of weird in between thing to digital that was terrible, and everything was blurred for several years. To, you know, when they were, I guess, not quite in your teens, to iPhones with actual cameras. And so the visual record was like, well, of course you're a baby. We have pictures, and then nothing good for like 8 or 9 years.
Mhm.
And then by that point, you guys were sort of taking over. We do have a number of pictures from that early.
I have more pictures of my kids than I had of myself growing up. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's normal. I mean, I guess what I'm getting at, and I don't want to like dwell on this if you don't agree, Carly, because I'm
Mhm.
not trying to get you to agree with me. But what I worry about is that, like, it's all about self-consciousness. Like, the girls I was interviewing were incredibly self-conscious. They were completely aware of how other people were looking at them and how they appeared to other people at
Mhm.
all times. And I pitied them because I grew up, trust me, I was bullied for my weight. I was a chubby girl, but even that was only every now and then. Like, it was only every few weeks. It wasn't a constant thing that I wasn't even aware of my body.
Right.
And I just feel like, and you can disagree with me, but like, I feel like that's almost impossible to imagine now.
No, yeah, I agree. I think it's a lot of it is like very much internal, as well. Like there's there's a sense of like awareness that's like, even if nobody else is commenting on it, because nobody else is commenting on it, because everybody's just more preoccupied with themselves and their own image. But like, I don't know, like, you're thinking about it way more than you should be and way more than anybody else is.
Right. Well, that's true. You always think more about yourself
Mhm.
and you think, but you worry about other people thinking about you, but everybody just worried about other people thinking about them. That's what's actually happening. So to contrast that, like, and to move off onto the topic of today, really, but I just wanted to have that as background. Like, can you contrast that with like AI? I mean, I don't know if you've used AI chatbots, and because there's so many different variations of AI and
Mhm.
ways AI is used, but like, I think about how AI must be kind of like almost the opposite from social media for a young person. What do you think?
I think, well, okay, so for people that I know and people that I generally interact with, AI is something that is like just not interesting to a lot of people that I know. Like, my friends are on social media. A lot of them are very anti-AI. Because it just like, I mean, I know people who use it, but even the people I know who use it regularly don't want to use it regularly and only do it because they feel like they have to. Um,
How have you encountered it personally?
I've used AI a little bit. I think it's honestly been kind of impossible not to. My experience with it was mostly in, when I was taking coding classes and using it for debugging, um, like a chatbot or things like that. It was
Yeah.
mostly, I held off for a few years. I was saying this to you earlier. My first, like when I was first learning coding, AI was not good enough to be any help whatsoever.
Uh-huh.
And people would use it and we would laugh at them because they would use it and it would be really obvious and their code would be really, really bad. And then by my senior year of college, this most recent year, pretty much everybody in this like coding class was using it at least for debugging. And
What was the policy by your teacher?
it was allowed. Originally it was the same teacher actually who I had when in my first ever coding class. And in our first ever coding class, it was strictly forbidden. But by senior year, it was no longer forbidden. And it was allowed as long as we weren't copy and pasting. Like it was discouraged. He discouraged us from like, don't just put the prompt in AI and go from there. But he was like, use it for debugging, use it for small errors, things like that.
Tell the story of the final.
Yeah, this same professor who I had took his intro to coding class. A friend of mine was the TA for his class, and I was talking to her, and she was saying, yeah, basically everybody is failing every assignment. And
What?
everybody was doing so bad that he decided for the first time ever he was going to have a test. Because he just knew that the only time people were doing well on these projects, it was all AI generated. And they couldn't prove it, obviously, but they knew. And the TAs had a pretty fair understanding. The students would come to the TA's office hours and ask for help and be completely unable to explain any of the code they wrote. And so he decided to have a test, and basically everybody failed. It was like a really simple coding task on like a lockdown browser in person, and none of them could do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, this was a class you were in or not?
No, this was I took this intro to coding class my freshman year, and this is what it looked like my senior year.
Got it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, so let's get into the hating of AI by you and your friends.
Mhm.
Like, tell me, is it because you feel like it's stealing like the chance to learn? Tell me, what is it?
So I think for one thing, I know that of my friends, I'm somebody who is more okay with it, I guess. I'm in more of like a technical field. A lot of my friends are artists and creatives. And
what is your field, Carly?
I am in like film technology. So, I do creative stuff, but I also do technical stuff, and I have sort of that blend that makes it so that I have to keep up with the technical tools as well. So my friends in more creative fields are definitely completely opposed. They don't like how it is. They don't like how it is,
Stealing.
Yeah, it's a good word for it. Stealing, not using any, everything is stolen from the internet and not credited. And I don't know. I mean, it's hard to like specify what exactly people don't like about it. It's because it's kind of just everything. It's the whole concept.
Yeah. I mean, it's certainly true. Like whenever I hear someone give credit to AI for being, what's the word I want to use? Apparently creative.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, no, you should be thanking an artist
That's a person.
right now.
Yeah.
But you just don't know which artist because it's not giving credit.
Mm-hmm.
You know? We were interviewing, actually Tom wasn't on this episode, but a couple weeks ago we interviewed a mathematician about how like mathematics, the future of mathematics is AI. Like AI is going to be able to do math, and it already has done some really surprising like stuff. But I looked into it as further, and it also is known for coming up with approaches to math and taking credit for it, being like, yeah, I came up with that. But like, no, you
No.
didn't. Like, no, absolutely did not. Like, that is somebody else's
Mhm.
idea that you took.
You can't
And
come up with
you're just
anything.
not trying to give anybody credit. I think everybody can understand why this is offensive
Yeah.
abstractly, but it gets really stuck in my craw when I think about math because I'm a mathematician. So
Mhm.
I know how hard it was to come up with that idea and that proof technique. And the idea that it's just being stolen and used and seemingly brilliant just makes me aggravated. And I'm
Mhm.
sure that's true for your friends, your artist friends.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's completely incapable of any sort of original thought. That's just not how it works. And
It can't even think. I mean, it
yeah.
can't even acknowledge truth. It doesn't, you can't parse logic.
Mhm.
We were talking the other day about AI movies or whatever, and you think about all of the work it takes to film a scene, and it's a lot of work. Carly's been on a dozen sets, and like on amateur or students sets, it's probably even more work. It's like everybody's just slaving away to get 5 minutes of film, and that stuff just gets stolen and put into some garbage slop video.
Yeah. I mean, Carly, let me ask you this, just to give you a full palette, a range of ways to hate AI. How about a job search? I mean, this is something that I know my kids had to deal with. Like when they finished college, they searched for jobs online and it was all like mediated by AI.
Yeah.
Have you gone through that process or do you just get jobs through contacts or how do you do it?
I mean, through context is really the way to go because it's hard to know exactly. I mean, the job market is terrible right now, obviously, but it's hard to know exactly why. I think AI is a pretty big part of that because I'm not doing any sort of hiring, so I guess I don't know this for sure, but it's, you're putting your resume into a Dropbox and it's presumably being scanned before it's ever read by a person.
Yeah.
And discarded if it's missing, that keyword.
It's a magic word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, again, I don't like, this is what I assume is happening. This is my,
No, that's right.
Yeah.
Carly, that is right.
This is just
And it
my,
actually,
Mhm.
it's not even looking at you or any of your peers'
yeah,
abilities. It's just looking for magic keywords.
Yeah.
At the
It must
first,
be awful.
the first filter is, yeah.
Mhm.
Like job hunting's always terrible,
Yeah.
but we didn't have that.
Yeah.
That was not what our process was like.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad. And I don't know necessarily if I would be I'm applying for a bunch of stuff. I don't know if I necessarily would be getting anything in a different decade. But it's tough and it's especially in my field, I was in this pretty specialized program that used to have far more successful alum than it currently does, I would say. There was a couple of years ago, everybody who graduated from this program was pretty much set and guaranteed a good position. It's definitely not the case anymore. Which is, the way it goes, I guess.
Because the studios are doing this stuff with AI, you think?
I think so because, that's another thing is that there's a lot more emphasis on jobs that I'm interested in AI skills, which I still don't really know what that means. I've seen a lot of postings for creative technology roles that are must have 5 years of experience in AI, which I don't know what that means. Like that doesn't,
But is AI 5 years old already? Like that's
right?
so
I don't
funny.
know. It's very confusing. And
I remember when I just became a data scientist, there were jobs, and data science had just been invented as a
Mhm.
term, and there were people like 5 or 10 years that required data science experience. You're like, that
how?
literally is a new
Yeah.
term. Yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Carly. Like, let's move to the future
Okay.
because we want to know, like, what people your age want to see. What are you guys doing to protest AI?
Mhm.
Is it possible? Is it possible to protest AI? Like, what are you thinking about that?
I mean, I think that like, I think it's important that people remain like apprehensive because I genuinely think that if people don't want to see AI, then eventually it's like, I don't know, nobody wants to see an AI movie. Literally nobody has ever wanted that.
Right.
People might want to make AI movies, but nobody wants to watch them. And so if an AI movie is made, it's not going to make any money because nobody wants to see that. And I kind of think that is something that like is important to hold on to at least. Like you're not, just because it's being like shoved down your throat and like forced upon you doesn't mean that you have to be interested or like it. And I think just not liking it is protest in itself.
Yeah.
Because if people don't like it, then,
People are going to pay to go see it.
yeah, nobody's paying for it. And if nobody's paying for it, I can't imagine. I don't know. I don't know how it works or how any of these companies are making any money whatsoever.
That's a question that your father thinks about a lot.
Yeah.
And he's right to think about that.
It doesn't, it's very
It's one of
confusing.
the most fascinating things to me. One of the most fascinating things about this very, very long hype cycle of AI is just how the wrong question is being asked. The question is like, can we figure out a way to use it?
Mhm.
And the answer is yes, although as you point out, Carly, like it's not very good. Instead of, is it a cost effective thing to do?
Yeah.
Which you're like, well, if it costs the AI companies a lot of money to make movies, which I think it does because it's a lot
Right.
harder than text, or even pictures, and nobody wants to see those movies once they're made, then that seems like a bad business model.
Definitely. Yeah.
They make it up. It's okay because they make it up in volume. So the fact that
Exactly. So is it possible to boycott AI as a young person?
I mean, I don't know. You can definitely try. I think there's a lot, like, I think it's possible to boycott forms of AI. I think, like, I don't know. I mean, you can't Google something without getting an AI overview. I don't think it's possible to, like, completely avoid it right now. Especially like in tech, it's unavoidable. I don't necessarily think it's all bad. I think there is a place for it in some fields, not really creative ones. But in some technical fields, I think there is a place for it. But it's just
I don't know anybody who really thinks that their field is super uncreative.
That's fair. Yeah.
I was talking to, I don't know if I've mentioned this on this podcast, but I was talking to a person who was becoming a masseuse, and she was like 32, and I was like, oh, what have you been doing? Like, she's like, I'm going to masseuse school next month. And I was like, oh, what have you been doing? And she was like, oh, I'm a computer programmer. And I was like, okay, what happened? And she was like, well, I really liked my job. It was clever and creative, and I would solve little problems, and it was fun. And now they just are forcing me to use AI, and it's so boring and it's not at all creative. And I was like, that is really interesting.
That is interesting.
And I get it. You know, like, even though it's, it's technical, but it also is creative. Most people, that's why they go into those fields, because they find technical things creative, as I'm sure you do.
Yeah, no, that's interesting.
Does it show up in like production stuff, AI? Is it useful there, or is it, like whatever you work in color correction stuff? Is it just used there, or is it not fit?
Okay, I will say one that is like in color correction, which is something that I do as well. I think of one use that I have. I would say I'm not opposed to this. I find it's been helpful for me, but like some using like AI like face tracking. So like if you're filming like a subject, and your subject moves, you're using AI face tracking to like do like VFX work or like adjust color, like as the face moves. And it is something that can totally be done manually. But you like with keyframes or something like that, but using AI like will speed up that process a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think for things like that, it is definitely like, it's cool innovation. It's cool that you are simplifying this task for the person doing that task. Not doing that task.
Not eliminating the task.
Not eliminating the task. Yeah.
Right. Really quick question before we end, Carly, is do you have any friends who have become like friends with AI in the chatbot era?
I do not know anybody who has like specifically become friends with it. I know people who are heavily reliant on it. I would say I have acquaintances who have become heavily reliant on chatbots for a lot of any sort of like online communication or like I don't know, like any email or any homework assignment or anything like that.
Right. So these are people who are like, oh, what if I say the wrong thing? I need AI to help me with my words.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Helping with words. And then also like, I think helping with words mostly.
Do you think they would be better off if AI had never been invented?
I think, yeah, probably. I think it definitely stunts your ability to, like, if you're using it to write every email you send, then you're not really you're not learning anything, and you're not going to be able to do that sort of thing on your own.
Do you think they would agree? Do you think do you think they would actually think I'm over reliant on this, or do they think, oh my God, the AI is amazing?
No, they think it's amazing.
Oh.
Are people sick of it? Are their friends or your friends sick of it?
Most people I know are sick of it. With
this person's use of it is what I mean.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking of like someone in particular who we would all make fun of and be like, oh, he uses too much AI. And
I can imagine like getting emails from this person being like, oh,
what is this? Yeah.
Why like this isn't your voice? Yeah. Personally, I would delete emails from somebody if I thought, in fact, I have deleted emails from people.
Yeah.
I think, just recently there was, a slew of emails from a class, that was reading my book, Weapons of Math Destruction. And I must have gotten 15 emails from students about my book. The first one I was like, oh, and I wrote back to it. And then I got 14 more, and I was like, every single one of these was written by AI.
That's crazy.
They wrote to me saying, oh, I just read your book and I have a question. And I was like, Why is it 4 paragraphs long every time?
Yeah, that's crazy.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like, oh my God, you guys are using AI to write to me and I'm a critic of technology. What are you doing? You know,
So weird.
I just ignored the rest of them, but it was outrageous. But I feel for them too. I wasn't really mad at them so much as mad at the teacher for allowing it to happen. Like,
Yeah.
come on. I feel for young people. I feel like you guys are having trouble navigating the world without using AI.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like AI is being forced down my throat, but I can only imagine that people your age have it worse.
Yeah, I think I honestly, I mean, I'm 22. I feel like I worry about it more for people younger than I am.
Yeah.
Because I at least was, an adult with adult life skills at the time that it started becoming popular.
Good point.
But I don't know.
On the other
I
hand,
mean,
what you said about bad products and bad movies makes me feel hopeful.
mhm,
It makes me hope. And Tom's recurring point that it's just not, cost effective. I've always thought that social media would be like the problems of social media would be like a virus that we would all eventually get immune to.
sure.
Like, we'd all just like learn how to only take the good and ignore the bad. And maybe
Mhm.
that's happening.
I think that's like a fairly accurate way. Like, that's a fairly accurate description of how I feel about social media. So I feel like I could see that happening with AI as well. Like, it's there and it's present, but you just have to be smarter,
Yeah. Yeah.
which it's just,
It's a modern hazard.
yeah, it's just not like entirely foolproof, like it's not gonna work for everybody. People are still gonna, like, most people are gonna see past it, but I don't know. Not everybody can, I guess.
My friend who's a teacher, or she just retired, thinks of it as, something you have to educate students, like sex ed,
Yeah.
drugs are dangerous, use a condom, don't fall in love with AI. Like that's
Yeah.
along those lines.
That
Kind of
makes sense.
the dangers for modern children.
It's a good
Yeah.
idea.
Carly, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate your perspective.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for
and
having
your
me.
stories. Thank you. See you
Thanks,
guys next
Carl.
time on the AI Skeptics.
Bye.
Bye.